Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. Wolves once again caused Manchester United more problems, first knocking them out of the FA Cup and now damaging their top four chances. How did Wolves do it? Where did Manchester United go wrong? Don't worry, here at the interviews, we've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, we're going to briefly break down how Wolves beat Manchester United. So before we get into today's video, don't forget to give our video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it. The bell below does give you daily notifications regarding our organic, unfiltered soccer/footy analysis. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. In today's video, we're going to break down why Manchester United changed systems and how it affected Wolves, and then get into how Wolves were able to fight back and claim all 3 points. But first, let's get to the starting lineups. We look at Wolves 3-5-2, no real surprises here. Jota and Jimenez up front, out in the wing-back roles with Doherty and Vinagre, and in midfield Dendoncker, Moutinho, and Ruben Neves. Then we move to Manchester United 3-5-2 as well. Lukaku and Lingard up front, out in the wider areas Dalot and Luke Shaw, and in midfield McTominay, Fred, and Paul Pogba. So now let's get to the first half, see how both sides look to approach the game, and why Manchester United switched their system. When we look at Wolves beating Manchester United for the second time in the matter of weeks, we have to look at Wolves forcing Manchester United to move to a 3-5-2 to try and match them up in all areas of the pitch and try to cope with the threat of Jota and Jimenez, who have combined well since moving to a strike partnership on the counter-attack. With United moving to a 3-5-2, what they do have here is obviously 3 against 2 at the back, with Young moving to right center back to offer protection for Lindelof and Smalling if Jota and Jimenez were able to break on the counterattack. When Jimenez tried to drop deeper, you had Lindelof trailing him throughout and ensuring that he was unable to receive the ball freely and combine with his teammates. Jota, for the first half, was dropping off deeper to pick up the ball, and his only real threat on the counterattack saw him break past Luke Shaw all the way into Manchester United's third before he was clipped down. But besides that, United moving to the system really did help them out, and it really did push Wolves back. And we expected Wolves to drop off a bit deeper because without the ball, they do move into more of a 5-3-2. And what happens there is that now United really did struggle when they were playing more of a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 diamond against Wolves this season. They struggled to really find openings. Wolves were able to really compress the center of the pitch and block them off in wide areas. Here, this system did offer them a bit more of a threat, because what happened was that Fred would drop off deeper so that they were defending with 4 and they were basically attacking with 6. Shaw was able to push forward against Doherty. You had Dalot up against Vinagre. What happened now was that Lingard was making intelligent movements, drifting laterally from flank to flank, trying to make runs across defenders and in behind them. And what happened now was that with Fred sitting off a bit deeper and providing reliable passes from flank to flank, you had Pogba and McTominay a bit higher on the outside of Dendoncker and on the outside of João Moutinho, pushing ahead of the center backs to occupy them as well. So with them occupied, the wider players occupied and pegged back, you have Lingard and you have Lukaku kind of free to try and get 1v1 with either in behind Neves or ahead of Cody, which is why you can see why United were trying to play a lot of long balls into Lukaku in the opening stages when Lindelof and when you had Young kind of pushing forward. They were trying to play instant passes into Lukaku, into Lingard in those advanced zones so that they could really push forward and get into 1v1 situations. So that was kind of the big thing here. You had McTominay picking up the ball in behind João Moutinho, who wasn't really doing a good job of picking him up there. And then you had Pogba a bit higher as well. But their job was simply to occupy the center backs, try to combine with Lukaku and Lingard if the long balls were played into them. And then it allowed 1v1s for Shaw and Dalot, who are very great attack-minded fullbacks. And with that being said, it allowed Lukaku to kind of get a 1v1 around the box so that the Wolves defenders couldn't double up or have 3v1 situations against the United striker. When we look to United's chances in that opening half, a lot lot of it did stem from them, like I said, getting the fullbacks forward and just 1v1 combinations play to bypass what is a very organized Wolves backline. He looks at the first opportunity, Fred switching the ball out to Delo, who runs at Vinagre and cuts outwards to deliver across into the box for Lukaku. Point blank range in the 6-yard box, not an on goal, but Rui Patricio makes a quality save. Shortly after that, it's Pogba nodding the ball into the left channel, and it's Shaw breaking forward down that left flank and locating Lingard, making that run across Cody into left half space. He's able to hold it up, pull it back for Fred, who is closed down by Moutinho and Neves stepping forward, and he slides it to McTominay, who's able to fire a quality low shot past Rui Patricio, who you could argue possibly should have saved that. Shortly after that, what you do have is Vinagre with a poor header into Lingard, and he squares it to Pogba, and Pogba breaks and slides the ball beyond Doherty to Luke Shaw, who cuts in but has a shot blocked by Cody. McTominay and Lukaku do clash for the loose rebound, but the play ends up leading to Lukaku delivering across from that left edge of the box for Lingard, getting in behind Cody and also getting in behind Bennett or Araboli to not an effort that should have beat Patricio, but it didn't. But just like that, in 3 instances, you see how they're able to break forward. A Wolves mistake, getting the wing backs forward, and that is all due to the system because they have protection with the 3 coming across and Fred slightly sitting a bit deeper to ensure that if Jimenez and Jota are able to break on the counterattack, they have enough numbers there to ensure that they are well secure, which allows them to push 6 attacking players forward and to peg Wolves back. So those are a lot of the chances they did create. One shortly towards the end of the half. Again, what we do see is Lingard dropping off. He often, like I said, floated across the lines and he dropped off into deeper positions. He drops off here and he locates Pogba, who eventually did switch to the right with McTominay. McTominay moved to the left, pokes the ball into Pogba, and Pogba's now able to play it into Lukaku, between Bolly and in between Neves. And what happens there is Pogba continues his run. Lukaku slides the ball between Bolly and Cody for Pogba, and Lukaku ends up getting the ball back in right half space, but Lukaku drags his shot inches wide of the net. So that was United in the opening 20 minutes, very solid, but as the half wore on, Wolves were able to gain control of the game, but United here weren't really that pestered by it because, like I said, they also dropped into a 3-5-2 as well, and they were fairly organized. What they had, like I said, McTominay stepping to João Moutinho. They had Pogba stepping to Dendoncker, which kind of helps him out because Dendoncker doesn't offer that much of an attacking threat. You had the wider players obviously pushing out into those zones and with the wing backs, and then they had Fred stepping to Ruben Neves, and even if Fred didn't step to Ruben Neves, what would happen there was that Lingard and Lukaku would take turns kind of pushing onto him. They weren't worried about the center backs having the ball. They just wanted to ensure that they were properly organized in those wider areas, with McTominay and Pogba being able to shift out to those zones if Jota or Jimenez also pulled into those zones as well. So they were well equipped there. And when you break down the Wolves' goal, because that was one of the sole chances they had to test David De Gea, it's a ball played from De Gea into Fred, who takes a poor first touch, and Moutinho does pounce, and the loose ball falls to Ruben Neves, who slides it into Jimenez, who breaks forward, and he's able to slide the ball between Lindelof and Smalling for Jota, making the run across Ashley Young and Smalling to get it in right half space, and he fires a low shot past David De Gea. But when you break down that first half as a whole, United's shape did cause Wolves a lot of problems, and they were getting the better of them. But as the half wore on, and especially following the goal, United did have to retreat, but David De Gea wasn't really tested. So going into halftime at 1-1, you'd expect United to kick on and get the winner. So now let's get to the second half, see if any sides made any changes and how Wolves were able to kill off the game. So when we break down the second half, we look to see if these sides made any significant changes. We did see Pogba and McTominay move back to their natural positions, and we did see Wolves drop off a bit deeper to start the half again. 5-3-2, but nothing really going for United here despite having majority of the control. We did see Lukaku and Lingard often drop off onto the left flank, possibly looking to make combination play with Luke Shaw, but nothing was really occurring down that side. But it also did allow Dalot to push forward ahead of Vinagre and trying to run at him. But besides that, when you look at United as a whole, not really creating any chances, a lot of possession, getting to the final third, but lacking that substance. Not enough from Lingard, not enough service into Lukaku around the box. Like I said with Pogba, a bit quiet despite playing in a higher role. And like we did see more of McTominay, but even him not being built with that creativity that United desperately lacked here. When you think to some of the chances that did occur in that opening 10 to 15 minutes of the second half, you have the Patricio punt where you have Dendoncker nodding the ball over Lindelof and that falling to Jota behind Fred and him sliding it beyond Chris Smalling for Jimenez peeling off into that left channel, but his cross was overhit. Sums up Wolves not really testing De Gea. All they really had in that opening half was Jota in that second half was Jota dropping off a bit deeper to the left, which did force Ashley Young into his first and second booking following McTominay playing the pass in behind him, and we'll get to that. And besides that, for United, you have Fred sliding the ball out to Dalot, and he was able to run at Vinagre, deliver a cross that was overhit, but Doherty didn't clear it. It falls to Lukaku, who, like I said, often was in that left channel, and he delivered across the near post that Pogba flicked on to McTominay, breaking in behind, but he was denied from point blank range by Rui Patricio. But like I said, with Ashley Young being sent off, that changed a lot of things for United, staying in more of a 3-4-2 or a 4-3-2 in that second half before eventually taking off Fred and moving to a 3-5-1 or a 5-3-1 necessarily, because what happened there was that Phil Jones came on and moved to central defense, and then they had Lukaku kind of just playing up front on his own with Lingard and Pogba just ahead of McTominay. But with that being said, when you look at what United was trying to create, still a lot of the ball, but not really getting in behind this Wolves back line. They, like I said, still much down the right-hand side for Dalot running at Vinagre, but the crosses were overhit, and there was one time where it came in for Lukaku in the 6-yard box, but it was cleared. So how did Wolves really respond? Well, United weren't really threatened when they dropped off into their shape. Wolves weren't creating chances. De Gea wasn't tested. Wolves ended up turning to their bench. Caballero for Jota. They brought on Johnny for Vinagre, and that was the difference maker there, because once they brought on Johnny, we had Ruben Neves shift the ball out to him, and he was able to deliver one quality cross into the box that saw Jimenez attack it, and it ended up falling into the path of Dendoncker, who got goal side of Chris Smalling, and he guided the ball past David De Gea, and that was really the only legitimate chance that Wolves had testing Manchester United prior to that, because United dropped off into their shape. Wolves switching the ball from flank to flank, but not really getting any real service into Jota or Jimenez. But shortly after that, in that second half, they had De Gea make a quality save that Smalling almost got into his own net, and they did see Caballero hit the crossbar in the dying minutes of that second half. But when we break down the game as a whole, Solskjaer's decision to move to a 3-5-2 did make sense, and it did cause Wolves some problems. But again, this Wolves side very organized, and United just lacking a bit of guile and creativity in the final third to break them down. Whereas for Wolves, kind of the same MO from them. Defend very deep, ensure that they are organized, defending as a unit, having that threat in Jota and Jimenez to pounce on a United mistake, and then 11v10, making the right substitutions and finally getting what they possibly do deserve given the defensive work that they did do throughout the game, and put Manchester United's top 4 hopes in jeopardy. But let me know what you guys think. Can Wolves replicate this next season? And what about Manchester United? Has this really ruined their top 4 chances? Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.